that I have planned today will be an awful lot of fun to play. Now, think of something everybody loves.
Like gold?
Like axes.
No, you can buy stuff with gold.
Well, you can take stuff with axes. Gold axes! Ah! Ah!
Why not both?
Golden Axe was a game released by Sega in 1989, 2 years before I was born, that was a side-scrolling hack-and-slash arcade video game in which you take control of an awesome bearded dwarf with an axe, a brawny buff dude with a broadsword, or a sexy Amazon chick with a longsword, each with their own unique magic. In the game, you go through and cut down tons of enemies, ranging from dudes with clubs, bunches of grapes, axe-wielding chicks, and giants with mustaches that are as impressive as their hammers, and many other enemies. In a quest that takes you through war-ravaged cities, over the backs of giant beasts, only to break into a castle and kill one of the coolest named final bosses ever, Death Adder. It's like the two greatest evils in the world, Death and Math, had a baby, and then that baby walked the path of evil and started wrecking everything in its path. Now, my first system was a Sega Genesis, so my friend and I played this game a lot as kids because it was freaking awesome. Sweet music, solid gameplay, and amazing atmosphere. So, a little bit ago, my friend was at the local GameStop and saw Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, and remembered how we loved my Genesis as kids. We thought it'd be great to visit some of those childhood memories, and be introduced to some games that we hadn't played before as well. And while most of the games don't stand up well to today's standards, there were some absolute gems that withstand the test of time. Golden Axe is one of those. But in addition to having Golden Axe, it also had Golden Axe 2 and Golden Axe 3 on it. Games that neither of us had the opportunity to play. So we decided, while throwing Skittles at each other,
Good. Hey, why don't we play Golden Axe 2 and 3?
That sounds like a dandy idea.
Great.
and so we did! These are our experiences with Golden Axe 2 and 3. First, let's talk a little bit about Golden Axe 2. A few years after the last battle in the land, the peace is threatened once again by an evil power. The Dark Lord of Darkness, Dark Gould. Hey, hold on! What the frick, Dark Gould? What kind of name is Dark Gould? That has got to be the stupidest final boss name of all time. Dark Gould. Oh, better board up your houses. Dark Gould is coming to town. Come on, get real. You can't have the coolest named illegitimate demon calculus baby and then switch to some drunken slur for gulp. Oh, I have no motivation to stop this guy. His life has been hard enough already with that stupid name. But I digress. Dark Gould has an evil plan and just starts wrecking the world. Probably because of the childhood bullies that haunt his dream. And once again, you've got to take control of the three heroes, Hot Chick, Buff Dude, and Awesome Dwarf, to hack and slash through this arcade game's 7 levels to eventually challenge Moron Von Robinson. Now, this game has everything a sequel should with over 2 years to develop, including inferior graphics, grating sound, uninteresting music. I especially liked how the game is a grind and gives the players and bosses different hitboxes. I'll go more in depth with why I think this game is an utter mess, but I do want to point out that the first Golden Axe's creator, Makoto Iuchita, wasn't actually involved with any of the sequels, but I still don't know how it took so many steps backwards. With only 2 boss enemy skins, it's just annoying gameplay mechanics and the stupidest final boss name of all time. It does have 2 things that it did right. One is the magic system is reworked, where you can actually be wise in the use of your magic and use less if you want to save some for later. However, even when they do something right, they do something completely stupid as well. In the first game, Hot Chick was even hotter in the fact that she casted fire spells. Buff Dude used earth explosions, and the dwarf was able to summon the power of Thor in the form of lightning magic. In this game, Hot Chick still uses fire spells, but the dwarf now uses earth spells, and Buff Dude was switched from manly explosions to wind magic? What the frick? The second improvement is that this game has an extra attack that allows you to attack enemies on both sides of you. And I think I'll start calling characters by their actual names now. Tyrus can do this wicked somersault, and Gilius can do a... You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. Oh, okay, no, that's awesome. This is the best game ever. 10 out of 10. IGN, best game of the year, yes. Eventually in the game, you fight your way to Dark Idiot, and you have to fight. What? A headless knight? But I saw him in the opening sequence. He totally had a head. So the final boss is just a rehashed skin of a boss you've already fought several times. Lame. And as it turns out, it's not completely lame, because as we killed it, it went to the real fight, the real Dark Seagull. And he summons a bunch of skeletons, and it's really hard. You ignore them, and eventually you can kill him. Woo, we saved the realm from Dark Seagull. Golden Axe 3. First off, they throw a villain with a name awesome enough to rival Death Adder. However, this name may be so cool that it re-enters the realm of cliché. Alright, are you ready for this? Let me turn on some voice filters for this. Strike, damn, hell strikes, going to kill us all!
What the frick am I watching?
Anyway, this is what a sequel should actually do. Now, the awesome dwarf has hung up his axe, but Tyrus and Axe Battle are still playable. But you can also choose 2 new characters. Some buffer awesome dude with chains wrapped around his arms, and some flippin' awesome jaguar! Everyone has several unique attacks, magic spells, and this game features branching paths! Honestly, this would have been a sweet game to play over and over as a kid, to see all the different paths, explore them all, because there are a ton of options. In the game, you tear your way through tons of enemies, all while casting spells and jaguar leaping! You set hostages free and for extra lives, and just tons of little things that the other games didn't have. Eventually, you fight your way to Hellstrike's castle and do battle with him. Overall, the game is significantly enjoyable to play and the graphics are sweet. Now I'll do a little comparison of how each game handled different gameplay aspects, well, differently. Graphics! Golden Axe. The graphics are great. The sprites and backgrounds look amazing from far away, and the nuances of the stage give a great atmosphere, and the enemies are gorgeous. Golden Axe 2. The game had 2 years to grow, but everything is blown up and pixely. The backgrounds look like mud, and the enemies, while not ugly, aren't very interesting to look at, and there aren't very many variations. Golden Axe 3. A graphical overhaul of the first game. A lot of the models and character enemies look a lot like the ones from the first game. You can tell who's who, but they look amazing. It's like seeing something with glasses off and then on again. Also, due to the branching paths, there are tons of levels you get to see. However, some of the backgrounds are a little questionable. Music! Golden Axe 1. It's really tough to judge this game's music for me because it's just too nostalgia heavy. I love all of the tracks and listening to them. Golden Axe 2 was uninspired and painful. Mediocre at best, but when you got to Dark Gould's castle, oh, I couldn't stand what they were trying to pass off as music. Golden Axe 3. The music didn't really stand out, but it wasn't downright bad. It didn't stick to me like the first one did, but it's alright at setting the mood. It's okay music for something in 1994, I guess. Sound! Golden Axe's sound. The sound from this game is great. The deaths have a huge impact, and everyone lets out a final, intense scream. Fun fact, one of the enemy's final screams was actually from the Rambo movie. Next 2. The worst aspects of this game are the death screams. And when the dragon breathes fire, it's absolutely grating like nails on chalkboard. Golden Axe 3. The deaths aren't as resounding as the first game, but at least they aren't awful. You're definitely like, oh, yeah, okay, he's dead. And the attack sounds are great, especially when the Jaguar slings his claws or pounces an enemy. Mounts. Mounts are actually a pretty freaking sweet part of the Golden Axe series and makes the game a blast. Golden Axe. There are 3 mounts. The chicken, which attacks behind, so you can swing around like an idiot and create a death radius of 6 feet around you. The tough-looking blue dragon, who you use most of the time, just lays down a cone of fiery death in front of you. And it's just plain awesome. And then there's the pink dragon, who can only be used once at the end of the 2nd level, who has a projectile fire blast that does major damage. Golden Axe 2! The chickens make a return, and the dragons— Oh, sweet Percival Waves Madison! What did they do to you? And the fire breather has the most annoying sound in video games, but he's actually pretty good. Golden Axe 3! The chickens make a return, in armor. And when you have them twerk, they lay down a pretty good kill box. You get the dragons, which still don't look as nice as the first ones, but at least they're not painful on the eyes and ears. There are some that just launch the enemies up and over them, and there's a dragon that shoots projectile fire, but instead of an awesome fireball through the air, he pretty much just shoots an earth scorcher, and then you have these awesome snail things, which look ridiculous to ride, but they're quite fun to mess around with. Attacks? Golden Axe. There wasn't much in this game besides hacking, dashing, and everyone's favorite OP, overhead slashing. Golden Axe 2. Pretty much the same as the first, but it did add an attack that hits from both sides, and as I mentioned, the dwarf's hilariously awesome to watch. But the dash move is OP because the enemies will allow you to hit them over and over with it. Golden Axe 3. An overhaul of attacks, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Double jumps, lunges, projectiles, and armor piercers. It was a blast experimenting with all the fun attacks, and apparently there are team attacks, but my pal and I never attempted any of them because anytime we get close to each other, we just smack each other to the ground. But this game is great because you can punch a woman over and over in the gut and bite some dude's face off. Magic! Golden Axe. The 3 different characters have 3 different spell bars, and the dwarf needed 4 potions to be full, and he could unleash a lightning almost every stage. But the Amazon needed 10. But when she called in the awesome dragon to breathe down fire, it felt great to execute. And the barbarian just called some awesome explosions. Basically, all the attacks are pretty fun to watch. Golden Axe 2! This is the only category that Golden Axe 2 excelled in, because when you hit A in the other games, it used all your magic to unleash the attack. In this one, you hit A, and depending on how long you held it, is how much magic you spent. You stole books from magic users, which made sense. The only thing that didn't is that Gilius and Axe Battlers switched their specialties, which I find weird. Also, the magic was kind of ugly to perform. Golden Axe 3! Every character has the same potential that they can store up, and the attacks are pretty standard. You can preserve spells slightly better in this game, but potions are rare, especially later in the game. You have to use your spells wisely. Also, you have to pick up potions manually, which means you won't accidentally steal your buds in multiplayer, like in the previous installments. Scott, you're full! This shit takes forever to fill her mana! Enemies. Golden Axe. The enemies looked great, but there wasn't much variety, but the reskins all looked really cool, and the bosses were awesome looking. The enemies were decently tough, but fun to fight. Golden Axe 2. I think they had less enemy sprites than Golden Axe 1. They reskinned so many characters that they didn't look different at all, and there's only 2 boss sprites. And to make it more challenging later, the enemies don't get smarter, they just get huge health boosts, so it takes so long to kill them. It's not hard, because you get into a pretty solid pattern of knocking them down as soon as they stand up. But some of the enemies also have bigger hitboxes than you, and they can exploit it. Also, it's really easy to get enemies to walk off cliffs in this installment. Golden Axe 3. Now this is how you do it. What's funner than killing a guy with 300 HP? Killing 3 guys with 100 HP. Tearing through lots of low health enemies is much more satisfying, reinforcing the male power fantasy that you would play Golden Axe for. Also, there are a lot of different enemy variations throughout the whole game, and further in the game, the enemies get tricky in their attacks, giving it real depth.
Levels.
Golden Axe. The levels are great looking and extremely atmospheric. I love positioning foes to knock them off a cliff, and the backs of the turtle and the eagle are super cool as soon as you realize that you're on the backs of them. Golden Axe 2! These levels are bland and you don't care too much about them. They certainly don't look as good as the first one, and it's really hard to talk about them because I have a hard time remembering anything about them. Golden Axe 3. There are a ton of levels, and because of the branching path system, you have to play multiple times to see them all. The game really feels alive, and they have so many little things that really matter in a game like this. I especially love the second half of the first level because it is a blast to chuck enemies off of this cart thing.
Gameplay.
Golden Axe. Pretty solid, not too many resources to manage, the hits are big and impactful, and it's fun to kill enemies. It's a blast. 4.5 out of 5. Golden Axe 2. Hits don't carry any weight, and the AI favors the enemy, giving them bigger hitboxes than the player. The sound design is awful, and the enemies are just a dredge to kill with that super high health. Terrible game. 1 out of 5.
Good shit! The dwarf sweet awesome spin move!
Okay, 2 out of 5.
Golden Axe 3.
This game is superb, and despite it being 20 years old, my friend and I will still pick it up from time to time because we intend to see all of the levels. The enemies are really fun to kill, and who doesn't love flying around the map with claws bared? I would give this great game a 5 out of 5! And you can pick up all 3 of these games and 38 other ones for just $15. So what are you doing? Do it!
Do it now!
Hey guys! Did you like the video? Did you like Golden Axe 2 and feel I was a little too harsh? Did you actually enjoy these games when you were just a wee little sprout? Well, tell Uncle Chet all about it in the comments. Also, if you want to see me and my buddy capturing the footage for these 3 games, we decided to double up and do some footage capture along with Let's Plays. Click on the boxes and it will take you to their respective playlists. Also, I've made a lot of video game top 10s. You can click on that one right there. It's the top 10 canonical Fire Emblem relationships. Oh, that's a mouthful. Anyway, this is my first video I've done that wasn't a top 10, so tell me what you thought about it, ways to improve it maybe, and any other games you'd like to see me review.
Oh.